Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going through the Imperial Faction rules for the new edition of Kill Team, as previewed today by Games Workshop. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's rules preview. What do you think? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, and a affiliate link at Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support as well. But yeah, I'm back in the UK. I haven't fully set up my recording situation yet, so we're just no face today, plus I haven't shaved. So yeah, Games Workshop has released the first of their new faction previews. So I believe every day this week they're posting a new set of factions for Kill Team. So let's get into it. I'll be going through them all. Obviously, these probably won't be full faction reviews, they'll be faction previews, and when they're out I'll be doing full in-depth guides. But until then, let's get on with the show. So for the baseline of all factions, every faction has their own faction rule, which is a specialized ability for every operative in that kill team. They have their own equipment and ploys, which basically what makes them unique. And the first one we'll be going over are the Death Corps of Krieg. So the Death Corps are now the renamed Veteran Guardsmen, because I guess it's because of Warhammer 40,000, where they're going to get their own dedicated faction for Imperial Guard. So they still have Guardsman orders, so they're strategic gambits and support. So friendly Death Corps Watchmaster operative, which is probably the new leader, can issue a Guardsman order. Whenever it does, all friendly operatives within 6 of it receive it. Whenever a friendly operative receives a Guardsman order, apply its rules until the end of the turning point, and operatives cannot benefit from more than one Guardsman order at once, and they only benefit from the most recent one they receive during the turning point. So for example, I believe Guardsman orders can change during the turning point currently in Kill Team 2.0, but it's basically the same in Kill Team 3.0. And then they've posted one of the orders, Take Aim. Ranged weapons of operatives that receive this order, excluding mortar barrage and remote detonator, have the balanced special rule. So that's actually an interesting change. It's because currently it's ceaseless, effectively rerolling ones to hit, but now it's balanced, so I think this is better. The only issue is you lose the trade out of rerolling ones for rerolling one dice, which it's interesting. I think it's better, but it looks like if they've changed Take Aim, they've probably tweaked all the other orders too. Then we have their faction equipment, well, at least one of them, which is Combeads. So whenever a friendly Watchmaster or Confident operative issues a Guardsman order, you can use this rule. Instead of each friendly operative within 6, you can select one friendly operative to receive that order. And then you've also got Siege Warfare, which is one of their ploys. So it looks like, unless it's restricted to the comms ability, you can't really bounce around orders maybe, but you now have a specific way just to pinpoint a particular operative, even if they're outside of your 6-inch bubble, to receive orders. So that's pretty cool there. Maybe that could be happening to Death Corps as a whole. Or it's just like the comms ability still works, but you can also now just ping it off in case you didn't want to give your comms -1 APL. Then you've got Siege Warfare. So friendly Death Corps operatives, ranged weapons, have the Saturate weapon rule. So that's one of their strategic ploys, I assume, which is great if we find out what Saturate does. Then we have one of their operatives, the Death Corps Spotter. So he still has a lasgun, which is the same. Mortar Barrage, which I believe is the same. 4-on-4s, 3-5. Heavy Blast 2, so it can only dash, I think, when heavy. And then Silent, and then Bayonet, which is the same as before. Then it's got the Spot ability. So once during this turning point, when a friendly Death Corps operative within 4 inches of this operative is shooting, the enemy operative, you can use this effect. That friendly operative's ranged weapons have the Seek Light special rule, and they cannot be obscured, and you cannot perform while in engagement range of an enemy operative. So this is actually slightly improved. So it looks like Seek is now the new indirect, because I assume that's what that means. But it's actually been buffed. So originally it was nerfed because it used to just like flip anyone from conceal. Currently only works behind heavy, but you can still be obscured. Now when you spot, the enemy operative isn't obscured as well. So the Spotter actually got a buff, and I believe the Mortar Barrage was 2-4, so it's actually gone up in damage as well. It was 5 dice though, I think, so it's gone down a dice, but it's gone up in damage. So the Spotter still looking amazingly good. So obviously this isn't a full faction preview, but from what we've seen of the Death Corps, they're still pretty good, I guess. Obviously we need to see everything, but the other thing I realized, I'm pretty sure the bottom right number in each data card is their base size, which if it is, that's very effective. Next, we have the Kasrkin. So they have a strategic gambit called Skillet Arms for ready Kasrkin operatives to have until the next strategic phase. So they have Light 'em Up. Whenever a friendly Kasrkin operative is shooting a ready enemy operative, its weapons have the Severe special, which is cool. But you know what this means? Elite points are gone, baby. It's gone. Elite points, they're probably going to hit on freeze, but elite points are gone. I hope so. I really hope elite points are gone. And instead it looks like at least they have different skills to have, which is really cool. But I'm really happy about that. But the article also says they have 4 different skillet arms to choose from. So it'll be interesting to see what the other 3 are. So then we have the full grip equipment. When a friendly Kasrkin operative is shooting an operative within 3 inches of it, ranged weapons on its data card, excluding pistols, have the accurate 1 special rule. So that's interesting. It's technically a nerf, but I don't know what accurate does. But currently 4 grips let you ignore negative modifiers when shooting, at least with Overwatch. So it's definitely a change from there. I dislike the short range of it, but it's definitely a change. Then one of their ploys is engage from cover. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Kasrkin operative that's in cover, you can reroll one of your defense dice. So if you're playing more defensively, especially as it looks like Volkus is quite a dense kill zone, this is pretty good. And then we have a normal Kasrkin trooper. Look, they're 8 wounds, they're still the same, but they hit on freeze. Everyone is happy now, right? You've lost elite points, but you hit on freeze, which I think would have been fine in the last edition. So that's really good there. And as this is a normal warrior, it has adaptive equipment. So you can do each of the following once per turning point. 1 friendly Kasrkin trooper can perform the smoke grenade action, and 1 can perform the stun grenade action. And you can find these in the universal equipment rule. So that's pretty good, because normally with Kasrkins, you have to take at least 1 normal warrior, so 1 trooper. So the fact that if you take 1 or more, like if you take 2, you basically get a free smoke and stun per turning point, but if you take 1, you're going to get a free smoke or stun instead of having both. But that's a nice tweak, but I guess it balances out the trooper losing the free elite point, because clearly elite points have gone. That's pretty interesting. I'm really intrigued as to how Kasrkin play now. Then we have the Exaction Squad, the Space Police. Some weapons of this team's rules have the Repress weapon rule below. Repress. Whenever this operative is using this weapon, each of your blocks can be allocated to block 2 unresolved successes instead of 1. If this operative is retaliating, you resolve the first attack dice, i.e. the defender instead of the attacker. So basically, those are the storm shields. So those are unchanged. Parry has been renamed to block, which is cool, but it's nice that this has just been consolidated into a single special rule. So no confirmation if they still shoot into close combat, well, into control range. But we'll see below. So strobing phospholumen. So before they would stop basically all rerolls within 6 for enemy operatives. Now, whenever an enemy operative is shooting against or fighting against or retaliating against a friendly Exaction Squad operative within 2 inches of it, your opponent cannot reroll their attack dice results of 1. So this is actually quite a huge nerf, and I think it's fair, because when you play against Exaction Squad at the moment, they're a very control heavy team because they just shut down rerolls within 6 to 8 inches. But now you have to be within 2 inches, so the lights have lost some of their range, and you cannot re-roll attack dice results of 1. So this is a lot worse, but if this goes on every operative, it's a trade-off, because instead before you could take, like, I guess 10, right? But it does make the kill team a little less more toxic to play against, and it does make sense that the flashlights only really work at close range, but it's quite a nerf, I'm afraid. I think 3 inches would have been fine. 2 inches seems quite severe. Then for one of their ploys, you've got Long Arm of the Emperor's Law. This is use this firefight ploy when a friendly Exaction Squad operative is performing the shoot action and you select a weapon with the range X special rule, excluding frag or crack grenades. Until that action, end of that action, add 3 inches to X. I assume that means if it's like because normal weapons still have unlimited range. So if it's like pistols or probably shotguns. So I assume firefight ploy is the rename of tactical ploys. So that's an interesting one. That's basically renamed of what it does before currently, which is stop a scouting option, which is way too powerful. So now it's, I mean, if shotguns are still 6-inch range, going to a 9-inch shotgun isn't bad. It's not great if you, I mean, if you're a dedicated Exaction player, you're probably not too happy right now. But let's look at the operatives. So you've got the Castigator, who just really likes black leather, just really likes it. So his combat shotgun, close range, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-4, range 6. And long range is 4 attacks hitting on 5s, 2-2, unchanged there. He has Excruciator Maul, which is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 5-5, Rending Shock, that's buffed. That used to be 4-4. Maybe it's just his, my gosh. Rending and Shock, that's a powerful maul. He has Engendered Focus. You can ignore any changes to the operative stats, including weapon stats, but excluding its save stats. So he doesn't ignore penetration via belief. I mean, like, weapon penetration, nothing related to his fascination with black leather. Zealous Dedication. Whenever an attack dice inflicts damage of 3 on the operative on a d6 on a 5+, subtract 1 from that inflicted damage. Can you smell that? That's the sign of basically feel no pain rolls going. I hope, because he had a feel no pain on a 6+, so damage prevention roll. Now this is changed to every time he suffers 3 or more damage on a 5+, it's reduced down by 1, basically to a minimum of 2. If this is true, I'd be so happy right now. Then you've got the Castigator's Arrest. Whenever an enemy operative is within control range of this operative, if no other enemy operatives are within this operative's control range, that enemy operative cannot fall back. That's nice. That's way better than the confusing arrest at the moment. There's no wound restriction, you notice. So this dude can arrest Space Marines. I don't know if he would survive in combat with a Space Marine now. He might actually just kill the Space Marine. But now it's just an automatic ability. So if that happens to all manacles, that would be really cool, because they've just got, like, it just arrests you. It's like, you're not leaving my dungeon. I mean prison. Cell, confinement cell. Anyway, he looks, compared to the rest of the Exaction squads, well, what we've seen so far, he actually looks really, really good. He was already a good operative, and now he's even better. So that's great. Now we have the Imperial Navy Breachers. They're the Navy in space. They have the Breach and Clear special rule. So once per turning point, when a friendly Imperial Navy Breach operative is activated, you can use this rule. If you do so, select one friendly operative visible, and within 3 of that operative, that friendly operative is expended. You can activate that other friendly operative before your opponent activates. Via some slight change of wording, it's exactly the same as it is now. So you can still group activate with 2 different Breacher operatives all the time. So very nice there. Now this is the big one. I haven't read combat stims yet, so currently combat stims give +1 wound, whichever one takes. And now you can ignore the changes to move stat of friendly Imperial Navy Breachers from being injured. Oh, it feels so good. I've waited so long. I'm sorry, Breacher players. This is probably horrible for you, but you'll play Inquisition now anyway. But oh, feels so good. Like, it didn't make sense that their drugs made them tougher. Like, why was it only limited to the Navy? It is a nerf, right? But at least you're now always moving in at least 6 inches, which is nice. Then they've got Deckhand. So this is also a firefight ploy. So use this firefight ploy during a friendly operative's activation. If it has an APL stat of 1 or 2, it can perform a free operate hatch action during its action and can do so during the charge or fallback action. You cannot use this ploy if the access point has been welded shut, see the hatch cutter, unless it's a friendly hatch cutter operative's activation. This is a new tactical, well, firefight ploy. And okay, so if you haven't boosted someone's APL or they're stunned, you can basically just, this is just an Into the Dark ploy, which is kind of good, but it's just weird. I dislike ploys which are limited to a specific kill zone, because it just means that kill team is better playing in that kill zone. So it's nice. So they definitely might have lost something, or they've got, this is an addition to everything else. And it's really good on Into the Dark, but it's just absolutely useless on Open, unless you open doors on Open now. But I don't think so. But otherwise, from what we've seen so far, it's interesting. So now we have the Endurant. He's still the same as before. Now, remember, because of his big shield, he's 10 wounds and a 2-up save. Most normal breaches are 7 wounds with a 4-up save. His shotgun is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3-3, range 6, Relentless, which is cool. We've seen most people lose Relentless and go to Ceaseless, so the fact he gains still has Relentless is really, really good. And then the long-range shotgun is the same as before. 4 attacks, hitting on 5s, 1-2, Relentless because of him. He has the Shield Bash, which is 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 1-2, Brutal Shield, so completely unchanged. Breach Rule. Whenever your opponent is selecting a valid target, they cannot select another friendly operative whose base is touching this operative's and this operative has the engage order and is intervening. This rule has no effect if more than one friendly operative's base is touching this operative. So you can't just like, he can't hold the door, right? He can't just go like, everyone stand behind me, I'll save you all. But it's basically the same as he worked before. Then shield, whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating with this weapon, each of your blocks can be allocated to block 2 instead of 1. So completely the same. And he can fall back for 1 AP. This is actually the same as well. I completely forgot when I'm playing Brachers or playing into them that he has this rule. He's slow. He's still 4 inches. So he's still a slow boy, but he's basically unchanged, which is interesting. I think the biggest confirmation he still has Relentless, but I would have liked to see a different operative instead. Then we have the Novitiates. So they have Acts of Faith. In the ready step of each strategic phase, you gain a number of faith points equal to half the number of friendly Novitiate operatives that haven't been incapacitated, rounding up. Whenever a friendly Novitiate operative is shooting, fighting, or retaliating, or an operative is shooting at it, in the roll attack dice or defense dice step, you can spend faith points to use 1 act of faith. You cannot use more than 1 act of faith per sequence, and their cost as effects are as follows. Intervention, you can retain 1 of your fail normal successes instead of discarding it. So this is kind of a change. So currently, sisters gain 3 points a turn, plus 2 if they have the chalice, 3 if they're on the point. So currently they have 6. So technically they've lost 1 point, unless the chalice gives them more. Chalice probably gives them more. But it looks like they've had quite a revamp. So you can only use 1 act of faith. I don't know what happens with the reroll act of faith play. We need to see them all. But this one has been changed because basically you had one that could change a fail into a normal success or normal into a crit. Now you can just change one of your fails into a normal, but we haven't seen them all. It will be great for everyone else, not great for an Novitiate player. Then there are when auto chastisers once per turning point when a friendly Novitiate operative is shooting, retaliating. In the roll attack dice step, you can inflict 1 to 3 damage on that friendly operative, but not enough to incapacitate it. If you do, you can use 1 act of faith for free during that sequence, with a faith point cost no more than the damage you inflicted from this rule. So this is actually a big change, because currently auto chastisers give the operative ceaseless. They didn't live up to the name, right? You would think they would involve harming yourself for some sort of bonus. They just gave you ceaseless. Now you actually have to hurt yourself. Don't have to kill. Remember, they only enjoy pain up to a certain degree. And then you can, like, it looks like acts of faith have different faith point costs, which is going to be, well, which is what happens now. So that's actually a much more interesting change. Makes the medic more important because you could like hit yourself for free, then heal yourself for 2d free if that remains the same. So I like this change. I assume Novitiate players won't because they prefer ceaseless, but this seems better. Then you've got Ardent Vengeance, which is a new strategic ploy. Whenever a friendly Novitiate operative is shooting against or fighting against or retaliating against an expended enemy operative, which I assume is an activated enemy operative, that friendly operative's weapons have the punishing special rule. So I don't know what punishing does, but this seems okay. Usually when employees target activated operatives, they're not that great because ideally you want to fight and kill operatives that haven't activated yet, because you're damaging your opponent's ability to punish you back and reduce the number of activations. But still, it's probably pretty good. And then we've got the Pronatus. She is Chalice Lady. So she's still movement 6 for up save 7 wounds. Auto pistol, exactly the same. It's range 8 now instead of 6. So her pistol's slightly longer and has a gun butt. So she's the Relic Seeker. So once during each of this operative's activations, you can perform the pickup marker, place marker, or mission action for 1 less AP. So that's the same. The interesting thing is place marker. So I guess currently you can drop mission markers for free. Like you do pick up, then drop. Now it looks like you might have to pay an action point. So that's just a general interest there. Then you've got Divine Acquisition. Once per turning point, when this operative performs a mission action that requires it to control an objective or mission marker, you gain a number of faith points equal to the turning point number. Oh my gosh. So she's actually better. Because remember, turning point 1, she does a mission action. She does a mission action, right? So she gains 1. Actually, I believe, well, we'll see, right? So then she gets 1, she gives you 1 point turning point 1, then 2 points turning point 2. So if she's sitting on your backfield, she's just capping points for free, and like she's giving you more faith points. So she's actually gone better, because before she'd always just give you free, you'd get with free. It does mean like the more your kill team dies, the less you get, but to compensate that, your Pronatus kind of like balances out your losses, because like going into turning point 2, they haven't said you discard any unused faith points, so you would be going to 13 acts of faith, well 13 faith points, which is 1 more than you currently have in turning point 2. So that's actually really interesting. I need to see what obviously the rest of the acts of faith are like, but that's a nice tweak. Novitiates sound a little bit more friendly to play against, while being tweaked slightly bit more so they're not as dominating as they can be. So we have the Inquisitorial Agents. They have quite a huge Inquisitorial requisition thing, so I'll go down in a second. Yeah, they survived. I mean, like, hopefully, before I read the rest of this, I don't like this kill team because it's a very toxic kill team, because it's just like pick the best to make the best, most controlled kill team. So hopefully that's changed. So let's see what's changed with Inquisitorial Requisition. Okay, it's very long, so I'll go through paragraph by paragraph. It's great when you want to see with a new kill team, wow, a kill team. So they have requisitioned operatives can be taken from one of the following groups to supplement Inquisitorial Agent kill teams as specified in this kill team selection rules. So you could select Death Corps, Exaction Squad, Imperial Navy Brachers, Kasrkin, Sisters of Silence, and Tempestus Scions. The Compendium lives in one faction. Compendium lives. These operatives have their faction keyword replaced in all instances with the Inquisitorial Agent keyword. You can now use ploys and equipment associated with a requisitioned operative's former faction keyword, and you cannot use a requisitioned operative's former faction rules unless specified on the Inquisitorial Requisition card. It only applies to these requisitioned operatives. Note that with their new faction keyword, requisitioned operatives can interact with the Inquisitorial Agent rules. For example, a requisition Vox operator from the Death Corps would have its Death Corps keyword replaced with the Inquisitorial Agents. This allows you to select other friendly Inquisitorial Agents operatives for its signal unique action. However, the Guardsman Order faction rule isn't permitted, so its ready orders relay rule would be ignored. It now also a valid target for the Inquisitorial Agent Mystics Scry unique action. So basically, in that long paragraph, if you pick a requisitioned operative, they lose their faction keyword, and they basically gave the Inquisitorial Agent. There's stuff like comms interacts with Inquisitorial Agents, but they don't get any of their faction stuff, so they lose like Guardsman orders and probably Breach and Clear. So we have the Servo Skull equipment. I would have liked to see, we don't know actually how this kill team builds. Now you can maybe like take a mix and match. So you could take like 8 Inquisitorial Agents and 2 or like more of the other requisition troops. Well, we need to see the full rule for that. But yeah, we have the Servo Skull. Once per turning point, one friendly Inquisitorial operative can perform mission action for 1 AP less. Exactly the same as it is now, so really good. Then we've got Absolute Authority. If you have not tuned into this channel before for a long time, you know how much I love Absolute Authority. It's my favorite ploy in the game. So let's read what it does. I hope this has changed. Use this firefight ploy during the battle. When an opponent uses a strategic or firefight ploy, excluding command point reroll or ones that cost 0 CP, their ploy isn't used, their CP on it is refunded, and they cannot use that ploy again during this turning point. This ploy cannot be used to stop the same ploy more than once per battle. It's exactly the same. Gosh damn it. Yeah, I hate this ploy. Would it have been so hard to just remove it or make it less toxic, or just, you know, when they use it, they have to spend an additional command point to use it? Because then I think that would have been better, because you go like, oh, I need to use this key ploy. Now, if I want to use it, especially now you have less command points, it costs more to use. So it would be more engaging and fun. Now I could like really, like my dog hates Absolute Authority as well. That's why you know it's a bad ploy, right? And the thing is, I won't get into drama, but there's, if you're deep into the competitive scene, you will know why this hasn't been changed. But regardless, great for Inquisitorial players, great. Yay! And then we have the Hex Assist. So this, remember this guy, he shouts so hard he turns off your special rules. So he's still the same, exactly the same. His shotgun remains the same. He has fists, which are the same, and he can hexercise. So whenever an enemy operative is visible and within 6 of this operative, your opponent cannot reroll their attack dice or defense dice with that operative. And then he has Chasson. So select one enemy operative that's a valid target for this operative and within 6 of it. Then select one additional rule, including a unique action that enemy operative has on its data card, excluding a weapon rule, until the end of that enemy operative's next activation is treated as not having that additional rule. You cannot do this while in control range. It's fine. He's basically the same, which is great for this kill team. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. It's okay. Like, he's still really, really good. He's more of a key tech piece because what he does, he can turn off like your frenzy ability, but now you can turn off unique actions. So you could turn off like your ability to raise that, like if you're like a icon arc, because that will probably say can turn off that ability. So interesting. And that brings us to like Inquisitorial Agents look exactly the same, which is great for those certain players who have always played Inquisitorial Agents and love that they have dodged a lot of changes that they should have had. And it's going to be pain for the rest of us. So far, we haven't seen the full rules, so maybe they're a lot more friendly to play against. They're less of a huge control team. We still don't know how they select their operatives. I would have liked at least seeing how we build an Inquisitorial Agent kill team as well as the rest of the kill teams, because we don't know if their operative sizes have changed or not. And obviously, we don't have their full breadth of rules. But definitely so far, like Inquisitorial Agents look like a huge winner. Kasrkin looked like a really fun faction, but I'll get into that in a minute. So overall, for the Imperial Day, so I assume we'll get a day for Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Chaos, Xenos, and Eldari. Okay, Space Marines, Chaos will be combined, Xenos, and then Eldari, so that'll flesh out the next 4 days. It's nice. They're nice. Once again, they weren't going to show the full faction reviews, but showing us previews was nice, right? That's at least something. So far, Kasrkin look like a really fun team now because they've lost the elite points but now hit on freeze. So maybe their players will stop complaining. We can hope, guys. We can hope. Inquisitorial Agents look like huge winners. Like, my gosh. Like, they basically didn't change, which is worrying for the rest of us. And then Veteran Guardsmen, well, Death Corps of Krieg, they look very different to an extent. And Novitiates look quite different as well. Brachers Brachers, they lost their stims, which is a huge nerf for them. And they now have a dedicated ploy for Into the Dark. I mean, they already did. It was just open a door. So they look like losers. Not like from what we've seen so far. Their biggest thing was stims because they all went up to 8 wounds. Now the fact everyone's lost stims, well, they've got more balanced stims. That kill team is going to play slightly differently. We don't know if they still have brace for impact. Another key takeaway is it looks like Feel No Pains have gone as per the Castigator's rule because he just loves leather so much the pain doesn't hurt him anymore because it's now, at least from that operative, if you take 3 or more damage on a 5-up, it's reduced by 1. So interesting there. Overall, I'm okay with the preview. Would have liked a bit more. It's weird. I would have liked a firefight ploy and a strategic ploy. Only showing us one of each seems a bit unfair. At least we got their equipment as well. But it's a nice preview, I would say. I'm more interested for Eldari Day because I'm a huge Eldari player. But I guess tomorrow will be Space Marines, then we'll have Chaos, then we'll have Xenos, then we'll have Eldari. Because that's how it should wake up. Because there's so many glorious Eldari factions. But yeah, I'm optimistic. Apart from my depression and upsetness over Inquisitorial Agents, I'm really interested to see how these other factions play out. As I said, Novitiates look more friendly to play into and a little bit more balanced from where they are now. Same for Navy Brachers. Exaction Squad also look like a less toxic control team to play into. Like, they're still quite good at that. They probably can still shoot into close combat, but we need to, well, control range, but we need to see that. Veteran Guardsmen also look a bit more fairer to play into now as well. So be interested. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if basically, if Death Corps turn out to be not great as well as Breachers, they'll do what the Breacher players did and just go to Inquisitorial Agents. But because they're all digital, if Inquisitorial Agents do prove to be a problem, they'll probably be changed because it's all digital rules. So and obviously if teams are too weak, they can be buffed because it's digital rules. So it's all good for now. Like, I'm just going to pretend I don't know what happens with Inquisitorial Agents, and maybe they're only 10 operatives. Who knows? We'll see. But that's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Do you like it or you're not? What do you think of these Imperial factions we've seen today? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, and I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So, for my adjuncts of the crew, I have Tom, Supercow, Stephen, Sam, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Mercenary Q, Lucas, John Thomas, Graham, Fang Zhu, Dave Meets World, Dad of Golden's Chris, and then for my veterans of the crit, I have Samja and Ryan. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you so much. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me today. We'll have 4 more of these videos. Are you as hyped as I am? Will completely angry, depressed John come out? We'll see. I managed to curtail him for Inquisitorial Agents, but there's only so far I can hold him off. Please let Frenzy go away. Just change Frenzy. Frenzy's not going to change, is it? Anyway, let me know what you hope to see for your upcoming factions. And remember, no matter what changes with the new edition of Kill Team, you can always win as long as you can roll a crit.